Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of North Andrew Reese, and I wish I could come to you with a much, much happier tone. But I'm not very happy right now because my boy back there is struggling mightily. He's not smiling right now. If you saw his interview earlier after the last game he just played, you'd see he's not smiling like that right now. But you see, I love Grady Dick. I love that we drafted him, and now that he's been sent down to the G League, I want to cover his G League progress. And here to help me with that is Mr. JD, who covers the 905. JD, how are you? And hopefully you can get me out of my doldrums here.
Well, I'm doing well, and thanks for having me. Like that game last night or yesterday, like that's such a downer, but we're here to talk about it.
Yes. So what I'd like to just begin with, for those who are going to ask, I'm not surprised he got sent down.
Mm-hmm.
The Indiana game when he didn't see a minute was a signal to me that he might get sent down.
Yep.
And then I heard a radio interview from Jack Armstrong that stated that Darko was going to likely send him down. So I wasn't surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not sure if it's the best thing for him to go down there because there's not a whole lot of help down there. And I think that Grady Dick is the type of player that needs to play with good players, especially early in his
Yep.
career.
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't happened in for the Raptors, and probably won't happen in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to send him down. Um, you have been very vocal about this not being the right move, JD.
Yep.
Um, and judging by his first game, I'm sorry I had to do this to you, Grady, and all the fans out there, but this was not pretty. He was 1 for 12. I believe he had 2 points.
Yep.
He was turning the ball over really badly. He wasn't good defensively. This was easily
Mhm.
his worst game as a pro, and JD,
Including the summer game.
including the summer league. And I pointed out to people, it's like, okay, everyone wants to send him down. That's cool, but like, do we really want to see summer league Dick? Because that was him with the ball all the time, creating offense on his own, and you saw that he was really pressing it in that game. But
Yep.
I only saw bits and parts of the game. I was kind of depressed watching it. So JD was there live. What did you see, JD? I don't think there was a lot of positive, but what did you see in that game from him?
I mean, I saw a kid that's like really tight, like he was really pressing with every shot that he's trying to take, right? But like let me take a few steps back, right? So like me and my colleague, like Rebecca, like I was actually training like a new Raptors HQ staff, like showing her the ropes, like what's it like covering a game, right? So like she got there earlier than me. She actually saw part of like a big chunk, like a bigger part of Grady's workouts before I came in, right? And from what she's told me is that like he's hitting shots really well, right? Like doing catch and shoot in the corners, right? And when I came in, like he's doing the stationary 3-point shots where he's going from station to station, catch and shoot, and like he's making them like what 6, 7, 8 out of 10 on each station, right? So like
Mhm.
whether it's like a hop step or like a 1-2 step, and like there was a point where like he was pulling up from the Bell logo, like not the logo, but like the
Mhm.
Bell logo, which is
Right.
about, I don't know, like 4 or 5 feet away from the 3-point line. So like he looks much more looser during his workouts,
Mhm.
right? But during the game he was really tight, and like you can tell, like I like like from where I'm sitting, it doesn't even look like he's sweating out there, like when he's playing, right?
Yeah.
And like it got to a point. It got to a point where like after it feels like after every shot, after every turnover, or kind of like somewhat bad decision that he made, like he's like his confidence just keeps going down and down, right? And like in the second half, like he actually like it felt like, I don't want to say he didn't want to be there, but it felt like he's second guessing what he wants to do, what he should do, right? And I think in the third quarter he was really unproductive out there, right? And that's I think that's when he got a quick hook, like maybe third or
Yes.
fourth quarter. Yeah.
Yeah. He turned it over. You made a really bad turnover in the third quarter, and you got the quick hook, and then the 905 made a little bit of a run, and then he came back in. They got blown away again. So he's actually been a negative
Mhm.
on the court with them, which I don't know, JD. Like he's struggling
Mhm.
with confidence right now, big time. I don't even know
Yeah.
what to say.
Hmm. Yeah, like he actually like unfortunately he actually cost them the game. Like he killed whatever flow they had in the first half. And yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough. And that's why like I was not expecting this as the worst case scenario, right? But it felt like a worst case scenario could be something like this, and it's gonna be bad for him, and that's why I'm not really a big fan of sending him down here, especially with the circumstances that we have right now.
So I've got two other things before I
Hmm.
go. I mean, there's not really a whole much to say, guys. He was terrible. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm a big fan, but what I do want to ask you is there was a report. I'm not sure of the accuracy of it, but I'll ask you since you report
Okay.
on the games. I just want to make sure I'm accurate with the quote, so I'm just going to look it up here just a second.
Hmm.
The report is that the Raptors changed Grady's shot mechanics.
Hmm.
If that is true, that can really mess up a kid's flow or his regular routine. Or like I'm watching him in Kansas, and this is not the same guy that was in Kansas. He's lacking a lot of confidence. He's not shooting the ball with confidence. Is there anything that you've noticed, or do you believe that the Raptors have tried to change his release or his mechanics while he's shooting, and that's led to his horrific shooting?
So I actually saw like a lot of his like game tapes as well. Like after we drafted him, like I watched a lot of his like perimeter shots, right? And I went back to the G League games as well, like before the season started. Like I'm like trying to see, like like what does this kid need, right? Like to be better, because I was concerned during the summer league, like yeah, like during the summer league games, right? I was concerned that hey, he might be a little bit too green for what we were hoping for, right? And like I said, going back to what I said earlier, like I'm watching this kid like going through his drills, going through his workout, and like the shot is fine. It's only like even if you go to his summer league games, it's only when he's in game where he looks tight and the shot is just not, like just not going in, right?
Yeah.
And also like if you go back to the game yesterday, right? He took about 12 shots, and I think there's really only four shots that I really liked that he took there. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the shots that he took there are kind of like it feels like I just have to take it because I need to take it. Like
Yeah.
it's not there's very little flow on a lot of his shots, and like for people like him, like that's struggling, like getting into a good rhythm is much more important.
Yeah, I the other thing I noticed is that players on the 905 stopped looking for him. Like there were times when he was
Yep.
open and the players were trying to force up their own shot and not even trying to look for him. That's scary when the
Hmm.
905 players have stopped looking at him because he can't make a shot.
Hmm.
That's when it gets really scary for a guy who's trying to develop his game.
Yep.
So that was a concern for me. He has another game coming up on Monday. He
Hmm.
sounded like a lot of people say he sounded defeated when he did his interview after the game. I just saw a kid that was trying to figure things out. He's trying to force up his shot a little bit. He's trying to get into a rhythm and he can't. He's
Hmm.
thinking a lot about how am I missing these shots? These should go in, and it's bleeding into the rest of his game. But did you find a guy that was defeated when he did that interview? Because I didn't think he was defeated. I just think that he's kind of sad that he's down there.
Well, like when he came in, like when he came into the room, like he looked sad, right?
Yeah,
But like what I can tell you is this is actually the first time I saw somebody do a like a post game interview for having a bad game, right?
yeah,
Especially in the G League. And like I'm saying that because I want to give him props for doing that, because there's a lot of players like the key players with like the Raptors 905 key players where they have a bad game and they don't show up for the presser because they're so upset, right? But
yes,
this kid, he owned up, right? Like he said that, like he needs to be better, right?
yeah,
And like that's a good sign that, like at the very least he's still got like some shred of confidence that he's gonna bounce back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My thing is I'm not pressing the panic button. I've watched a lot of NBA. Shooters take time.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people come into the league like Steph Curry and light it up right away. Shooters take time. He hasn't. You tell me if you agree with this argument or not. This is sort of my last point on this before we go forward. My thought process is he really wasn't given major minutes in the NBA with quality players or players that can
Yep.
pass the ball with greater regularity. He mostly played with the bench. And to be
Mm-hmm.
fair, guys, Malachi Flynn's couple of games aside, the bench has been dreadful,
Yep.
to say
Even
the
with Scotty
least.
in there.
Yeah. Like they've tried to put Scotty with four bench guys, and I'm not going to talk about the Raptors too much, but like they really didn't put Dick in a situation where he could be successful.
Mhm. Yep.
Other players drafted high, like Tyler Hero, they were put in the starting lineup right away, or even a Desmond Bain. They were
Mm-hmm.
playing with guys like John Morant, guys like Jimmy Butler. They were in situations where they could be successful because they were more open, or they were going to be in a situation where they were setting up double screens for him. What do you think of my thought of the Raptors really not having a plan for him after they drafted him?
I was actually talking to Nigel from Raptors Republic, talking to Nigel about this, and one of my main issues here is that like I love Malachi, like I still have some Malachi stocks here,
Yeah.
and at the very least I'm neutral with Precious, but man, like why are we investing more on their development than your first round pick, your lottery pick,
Yes.
right? These
Yes.
guys are kind of like one step out the door, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, like with all this talk of development during the season, right? It feels like this is borderline negligence, right? Like,
Yes.
what are we doing here? So,
Yeah.
like, I agree with you.
Yeah. I did not expect. Now, my whole thing is I didn't think that Schroeder would start when the season started. I thought
Mhm.
thought that Gary Trent would start, and we would have a rotation of um, Dick getting into the lineup after Gary was tired, and then he would get a chance to play with the big boys. It has not
Mhm.
gone like that whatsoever. So he really, outside of one game where OG was out, he started one game and didn't take advantage of
Mhm.
it. That one game, I think he was 1 for 9 in that game. That really hurt his stock.
Yep.
He really hasn't had a chance to play with those guys. So now I'm not defending great. He's been terrible, guys. Like he has not shot the ball
Mhm.
well. But the opportunities that I thought he would get later have not come early. And now I'm questioning whether they'll come at all because it looks like he's going to be with the 905 for the foreseeable future. This can't be good for
Mhm.
his confidence at all. But when you're sent down there, you've got to find a way to get yourself going. I guess that's where we're at right now.
Yep. And I'm just not sure if that team, as constructed right now, is in the position to help him out. I'm just being
Yeah,
here.
I just don't know how he develops. Like I understand reps. He does need the reps. He does need to get his cardio. He mentioned that in
Yeah.
his interview. He needs to play more minutes. That I understand. But like I don't think he's going to develop the way that the Raptors want him to develop down there. He's
Yep.
not a guy who's going to create his own shot, at least not
Mhm.
early in his career. They need to get this guy into a situation where he can get open for threes running off the ball. That hasn't
Yep.
happened with the big team, and it's not going to happen in the 905. So I just don't
Mhm.
know how he develops down there, other than hopefully getting his shot going, um, and maybe getting his driving going. But I
Mhm.
just I just don't see his particular game developing on that 905 team.
No, like I'm not too optimistic about it, but like I'm just hoping that, like sometimes if you're talented, you can be put in any position and sometimes you just shine, right? I'm
Yeah.
hoping for that. Mhm.
So that was game one of the Grady Dick experience down at the 905. I'm going to be doing a series of shows with JD and possibly Nigel as well about Grady Dick. I know that JD's going to be covering the 905. He's going to be watching all the games. I'm going to try to get down there for games as well. I'm going to try to meet JD down there and watch
Mhm.
this team, which is a tough watch. Hopefully, Marquise Noel is going to be back soon. That could maybe open up a few things for Grady. But this is going to be tough, and I'm going to watch these games and I'm going to cover Gradey's development with JD. And I'm gonna cover each game. So this is game one. It was an ugly game,
Mhm.
but I have hopes that it will get better. What I'll ask Raptor fans is don't give up on the kid yet. I know everyone's comparing him to Jordan Hawkins, who I liked in the draft as well, and to
Mhm.
Cason Wallace and to other players, Keontae George. But listen, guys, nobody thought Gradey would drop to 13. And as much as we want to shit on Masai, he made the right pick, guys.
Yep.
For what the team needed and for where they were drafting, they made the right pick. You've got to give players time to develop. There are plenty of players that have started off slow, Hall of Fame players that have started off slow. Shooters in particular take some time to get adjusted to the league. So he's 19 years old. He just turned 20. So let's give him some time. And that's what I'm here for. We're gonna
Mhm.
cover this guy in the 905, and then when he comes back, I will be here smiling. It's just not happening right now. So, but JD, thank you very
Mhm.
much for helping me cover this. I wish I had something positive I could say. I was looking for something in that game, and there was just nothing that I could point to that
Mhm.
I could say was a positive about that experience. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you know what? If anything, like watching him up close, like it looks like he's got like a good like he does so well in terms of like reading what's happening on the floor. It's just like sometimes like the reaction and the kind of like hesitance to do something, you know, because like like he's in the mode where I'm not doing well right now. I don't want to, like screw it up
yeah,
even more, right? But like you see flashes of him doing something good, like offensively or defensively, and like that was their last night too. I mean yesterday, but it's just that there's a whole lot more stuff that's negative that happened yesterday.
yeah. I think he's in his own head,
Mhm.
and it's in his head that he might not be succeeding as he thought, and it's getting to his most effective skill, which is shooting. So,
Yep.
and that leads to trying to do too much in other areas, and that's when you can
Mhm.
really fall down even further. So, let's hope he can get his shooting going. We will be watching. I will be watching, and I'm going to be cheering for this kid. Um, I don't understand the development of pushing guys like a Flynn or a Precious, but they are on 1 year deals. Maybe they can get a trade out of them. They got plenty of time with Gradey, whereas they have 7 guys on the roster that are on 1 year deals. Maybe they're looking to boost their value a little bit. But me personally, Precious and Malachi, I don't think they're here for the long haul. And I would prioritize developing Gradey, who you just drafted first overall. That's just me. But the
Oh,
Raptors
same here.
organization is a mess right now. I don't know what to think of what they're doing right now. There's a lot of situations with Pascal that's going on. There's the Scotty development arc that's happening. It's just a
Mhm.
big mess. And when you get that, you get 8-8, and you get a team that's up, down, Jekyll and Hyde. That's
Yep.
been the team all year long. And maybe Gradey doesn't need to be around that. I don't know, but we'll see, because it's not much better in the 905. If anything, it's
Mhm.
worse. So,
Yep.
but that's what we have JD here for. He's going to help
Mhm.
us cover this. He plays on Monday again. We'll have
Mhm.
JD on again to see how he does in his second game. But for now, I'm the mouth of North Andrew Reese. This has been the Gradey Dick Report Game 1, and we'll see you next time on the Reese Report.